Hi guys, so if you follow my work at all, you might know that I have a lot of trouble getting my quads to activate, and because of that, I don't have very good quad development. My quads tend to be the weak link in most of the stuff I do. And so I have been working on trying to solve this for quite some time, and typically the strategy that comes top of mind for this is to try to squat in a more upright front squatty type of position, right? So if you lean when you squat, then obviously more of the stress is going to your hamstrings and glutes. And for me, it's mostly the hamstrings. And so that's been the typical approach I've used over the years. But the other day, I was having a conversation with Coach Christian Thibodeau, who you should follow. He does a lot of writing for tnation.com and really is just a very bright mind. And he made an offhand comment uh, which was that he notices that a lot of tight athletes seem to rely a lot on the stretch shortening cycle. And so what that means is that you get like kind of a nice bounce out of the bottom. The stretch shortening cycle says that you can produce more muscular force if you place a quick stretch on that muscle first. So it's like when you throw a ball, you bring your arm back, and that's the stretch, and then you throw. And so as it turns out, I get a ton out of the stretch shortening cycle, a ton. And but as he was saying that, it just occurred to me that when I do a parallel squat, top of the thigh parallel to the floor, which is deeper than what you see me doing here, my hamstrings are really stretched to the max. I can get to the position and hold a neutral spine, but my hamstrings are very stretched. And you know, there are two separate mechanisms for force production. One is the contractile element. It's just the contractile activity of the muscle fibers themselves. And then there is also the elastic component, which means that all of those tissues, the muscle and the surrounding fascia and all of that, they have an elastic component that, you know, when you squat down, you put those things on a stretch. It's like pulling a rubber band apart. And then when you let go, it snaps back. So when you rely a lot on the elastic component, then the contractile component doesn't really have to do that much work. So then it just kind of hit me. I got playing around with some of these kind of high box squats. This is a 19-inch box that I'm squatting to here. And I'm not worried so much about my torso angle, although I am trying to stay upright, but it is more about the height of the squat and kind of breaking up that eccentric concentric chain. So what I'm doing here is I will sit down to that box. So the first component of this is that I'm not going as deep. So at this level of depth that you're watching now, it's not down far enough to really put those hamstrings on a stretch. So I can't kind of rebound out of the bottom with hamstring tension. So the only thing that is left is quads. So the height of the squat is the one factor. And the other factor is just trying to go down slow and almost kind of relax a little bit on the bottom. I'm not fully relaxing. I'm keeping my core tight, but I'm relaxing the leg musculature on the bottom and then kind of starting from scratch. So I want it to feel almost like I'm starting from a dead stop, and that's something I could play around with as well. But I suspect that a lot of people out there might be struggling with similar issues, and I thought this might be useful for them. And by the way, I have an upper body analog to this whole situation as well. I'm very strong in the pecs and kind of weak and underdeveloped in the triceps. And so if you're doing a barbell bench press, I can't hang with my training partners at all. They're way ahead of me. But then when we switch to a dumbbell bench, I can kind of keep pace with those guys. They're not as far ahead of me on a dumbbell bench. And the reason is on that dumbbell, I can put those pecs on a big stretch, and that stretch rebound kind of snaps the weight back up, and the triceps don't have to work too much. So anyway, if you are struggling with muscle imbalances or, you know, relative muscle weakness, I just thought you might find this interesting. And as always, love to hear your comments. See you next time.